husband is Mexican and he loves arroz con leche. And Spanish is not my first language, so you'll have to pardon my accent. That is basically a sweet, milky Mexican rice pudding. It used to be that we could buy this from El Rancho, which is a Mexican supermarket that is located in Houston. It might be located some other places too, but it's definitely here in Houston. And they used to sell like a pretty good sized cup for like $3, and it really wasn't worth the time or the effort to go ahead and make it from scratch. However, because of shrinkflation, which we are experiencing like virtually everywhere right now, now you can only get a teeny tiny little, I'm not even joking, probably like a 1 cup measuring cup of rice pudding for like $3 or $4. And I told him, I said, look, I know rice pudding's not that hard to make. It's basically cooked rice, milk, sugar, and raisins and cinnamon. That's basically it. We're going to do it. We're going to make it. I can make it myself. Don't worry. I will figure this out. But I am not spending $4 for 1 cup of rice pudding. That is psychotic. All right. So anyway, you are coming along with me on my very first try to make arroz con leche. I know it's going to be awesome. Let's do it. Because we aren't spending that kind of cash. Because we do not have money to burn like that. So to make this, I'm going to measure out 2 cups of long grain white rice. This is a 2-pound bag, so that's approximately half of the bag. Next, I'm going to go ahead and wash my rice probably at least 3 times in order to remove the white starches that you see in the water. Once your rice is rinsed, we're going to go ahead and add it to an Instant Pot. Keep in mind, you don't really need an Instant Pot, but I'm using one for this because it's quicker. Then I'm going to add 4 cups of water to my Instant Pot along with my rice and 2 sticks of cinnamon. And I'm going to go ahead and add just a little pinch of salt. And then this is what we have in our Instant Pot, our rice, water, cinnamon, and a pinch of salt. I'm going to go ahead and secure the lid on the Instant Pot, and I'm going to set the cook time for 4 minutes on high pressure. Once the 4 minutes has lapsed, I'll allow 10 minutes natural pressure release. Once the remaining pressure is released from the pot, this is what we have. I'm just going to remove the cinnamon sticks. Next, I'm going to go ahead and stir in about 4 cups of milk. You can always add just a little bit more later after it cools if you need to adjust the texture. Next, we're just going to set our Instant Pot on low pressure for 10 minutes, and we're going to simmer all of these ingredients together, stirring constantly. I'm also going to go ahead and add in maybe about a teaspoon of vanilla extract. That will be to taste. And then as we are allowing these ingredients to cook together, we're just going to keep stirring it because we don't want it to curdle and burn on the bottom of the pot. And once all of our ingredients have had some time, 10 minutes to cook together, you will notice that it is starting to thicken up and our rice has become very soft. And this is the correct texture for rice pudding. Next, we're going to go ahead and add our sweetener. I'm going to go ahead and add 2 cans of sweetened condensed milk. By the way, if you're just making this for 1 or 2 people, you can feel free to cut this entire recipe in half. I am making a very large batch because my husband loves to eat this stuff. I chose this particular brand of sweetened condensed milk because it did not say anything about having bioengineered ingredients on the back of the can. The majority of these do say bioengineered ingredients on the back of the can, but this brand did not, so I went ahead and spent the money to get the good stuff. And if you've been around here for any length of time, you will know that I do not use very many canned goods. That was basically at the request of my cardiologist because I have had some health issues in the past couple of years that I have been working to resolve. And so I generally respect the request that my cardiologist made. However, there are a couple of exceptions. One is something like evaporated milk or this sweetened condensed milk. Another one is canned pumpkin. And finally, the last one is if I'm going to open maybe a can of beans or a can of tomatoes that's low in sodium, but it's going to keep me out of a drive-through. Those few exceptions I have gone ahead and made. While not completely perfect, I figure if I don't have more than, say, 1 canned good in a 30 to 60 day period, that's probably pretty good. So as you will see, once we've added that condensed milk, we are going to continue to cook for 2 more minutes and allow those ingredients to come together. Now we have a very thick, sweet, delicious rice pudding. And as you allow it to cool, it is going to thicken up even more. So you can always adjust the milk if you'd like a thinner texture. We like ours pretty thick, and I've garnished with cinnamon. This is my very first time giving this a try, and I must say it's every bit as good as what we were paying $50 for. So here's what I'll say. This was my very first time making this dish, and I am very satisfied with how this turned out. We will be making this on repeat because this is something my husband likes to eat. He likes to have some in the fridge. And with the way prices are right now, for this quantity, I would be spending $50 to buy this quantity of rice pudding from the store. And let me be very clear that this batch of rice pudding cost me just $6 to make. That is a huge savings, and it is also super simple. Most of the time was hands-off time with it cooking in the pot. It really just took a few minutes of hands-on time. And if you have been buying Arroz Con Leche in the dairy department of your local grocery store, this is far better taste. There's no comparison. So if you've been looking for a delicious and easy Arroz Con Leche or Mexican rice pudding dish, I recommend giving this one a shot. It is absolutely delicious. Okay, guys, I'll see you next time.